There are no coincidences where your soul is concerned. The angels are whispering this truth into your heart right now. You didn't just appear in their life. And this person who lingers in your thoughts, they didn't stumble into your story by chance. This connection you feel so intensely is not of this world. It was written long before your names were ever spoken. You were sent. That's what the angels keep repeating. You were sent. You carry a frequency that disturbs what is numb, awakens what is buried, and softens what has been armored for too long. You are not simply someone they admire. You are a force, a divine disruption, a spiritual intervention cloaked in human skin. The angels say, you are the assignment they didn't know they were praying for. Your presence is not passive. It moves things, shifts perceptions, illuminates shadows. And that's why this connection feels different, because it is. There's a weight to your presence that they can't define. It stirs the soul. It makes them question what they've accepted for far too long. And now, even when you're not around, a part of them still listens for your energy, like a song that changed everything the moment it played. Have you ever felt that? That quiet knowing in your chest when their name crosses your mind without warning? That warmth that rises from nowhere when you think about what it could mean if they really saw you, fully saw you? That's not fantasy. That's frequency. And the angels are aligning every detail so that this truth becomes undeniable. This connection, as complex and mysterious as it may seem, is not meant to confuse you. It is meant to awaken you, to call you deeper into your own power. Because yes, you are here to love, but even more than that, you are here to remember who you are through the love you give. And here's the part that may startle your heart. They feel it too. They might not admit it. They might not know how to name it. But their soul does. Their soul knows you. Their soul has waited for you. And now that you're here, they can't go back to who they were before. That's the spiritual mission. Not to save them. Not to complete them. But to stir them. To call them forward. To be the mirror their spirit didn't expect, but always needed. The angels show me a beautiful truth about you. That your love is not here to perform. It is here to remind. To awaken the sacred inside the forgotten. To be soft in a world that has grown hard. This is why the heavens placed you in this story. Not as a background character, but as a divine turning point. A sacred pause in the noise. A homecoming disguised as a stranger. And so I say this now, from the space between heaven and your heart. You are the answer to a prayer they haven't found the words for. Let that settle. Let it echo inside you. And if something deep within you is stirring, a pulse, a spark, a magnetic pull that says this message is for me, then trust that you are being called into something sacred. Pause. Inhale. Feel it in your chest. Because this journey is just beginning. And at the exact moment your soul recognizes this truth, something else awakens. Now I invite you, not from a place of urgency, but from the quiet knowing of destiny, to step closer. If your heart whispered yes while reading this, if you felt a presence around you, like something unseen just nodded in your direction, then maybe this message was always meant for you. And maybe, just maybe, the rest of the journey is waiting for you to say, I'm ready. Ready to remember. Ready to receive. Ready to be seen. Let the angels know. Let the heavens hear it. Subscribe now. Not with fear, but with reverence. Because this is no ordinary message. It's a homecoming. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1 verse 5. They didn't mean to build the wall. It happened slowly. A brick here, a silence there. A moment of shame that turned into a habit of hiding. A betrayal that whispered, don't trust. A disappointment that taught, don't hope. Until, without knowing how, they became a fortress, guarded, protected, but alone. And then you showed up. You didn't demand anything. You just stood there, whole and present, with that light in your eyes that made them forget for a second how long they've been pretending not to feel. The angels say, This person is terrified of the way you make them feel, because it feels like the truth. They've spent years mastering the art of being untouched. They learned early on that vulnerability meant exposure. And exposure? It meant pain. So when your love started to glow, they flinched. Not because you were too much, but because they had buried the part of themselves that believed love could be safe. There are memories they haven't told you about. Wounds wrapped in silence. A childhood moment where someone they trusted walked away. A heartbreak they never cried over because strength, they were taught, looked like indifference. But you made the walls hum. You didn't push. You just existed. You just loved. And that made something stir. Something they tried to forget. Something fragile and soft that whispers, maybe this time it's different. And it is. Because you're not here to force the walls down. You're not here to fix or rescue. You're here to hold your light steady, like a lantern in the dark, until they remember the way back to themselves. Still, they resist. Not because they don't feel, but because they feel too much. You remind them of who they were before the fear. And that's the most dangerous thing of all to a heart that only knows how to survive. Sometimes they retreat. Say things that contradict what they show. Go silent when their soul is screaming to connect. It's not personal. It's protection. The angels say, every time you love without needing to be loved back, something inside them melts. That melting scares them. It breaks patterns. It exposes the aching tenderness beneath the surface. And yet, it also makes them linger. Reach out. Return again and again, even if with trembling hands. Not because they're cruel, but because healing is not a straight line. It curves. It spirals. It returns to familiar pain before it can step into unfamiliar peace. This is the space you're walking together now, the in-between. The sacred middle where fear and desire hold hands, trembling. Let your soul rest in this knowing. It's not that they don't care. It's that caring has always been dangerous for them. You're asking them to believe in something their past taught them to run from. But the angels see something else. They see cracks in the armor. They see moments where their heart leans closer, even when their mind says no. And they whisper, she is the healing. She is the mirror. She is the answer they're still learning how to accept. And you? You were never meant to be the solution. You were meant to be the permission. The living, breathing evidence that love can be soft and strong. That connection doesn't have to cost your safety. That someone can see all your shadows and still want to stay. If you felt their pull and push, don't harden. Don't shrink. Your grace is doing more than you know. And if, in the stillness of this message, your heart aches for answers, trust that this is not the end. This is the slow, sacred unraveling of everything that was never love, to make space for everything that is. Let yourself feel the tenderness of that. Let it hold you. Because sometimes the walls don't fall in thunder. Sometimes, they soften in the presence of someone who doesn't leave. You cannot pour light from an empty soul. The angels are closer when you forget yourself, not to judge, but to remind you, you are sacred too. This connection, this love you feel, it's powerful. It stirs your essence, makes you reach deeper, love harder, wait longer. But even the most beautiful connection can become heavy if you forget to return to yourself. This person who dances on the edge of your thoughts, may be healing. But so are you. And your healing matters just as much. The angels whisper, do not confuse love with sacrifice. You are not meant to disappear inside someone else's storm. You were made of sunrise and prayer, of ancient knowing and soft power. Your light wasn't meant to burn out in the name of patience. Yes, you love them. But have you loved you lately? The way you hold your breath hoping they'll finally see you. The way you reread their silences, trying to translate what they can't say. The way you wait for a sign, a message, a return, but forget to listen for your own pulse in the process. What about your dreams? Your rituals? Your voice? You are not here to orbit their healing. You are the sun, and you were born to rise again and again, even if they're not ready to meet your light. Self-care is not selfish. It is sacred. The angels say, every time you choose yourself, you teach them what love looks like. So, take your time. Step back when needed. Breathe deeply. Speak kindly to your own soul. Let your body rest. Let your heart release the weight it was never meant to carry alone. Your energy is not a currency. You don't owe your peace to anyone else's confusion. Let your love be free, and let yourself be full. Because when you care for your glow, you remind the universe that your light is worthy of reflection, not depletion. You show that you are more than a healer. You are whole. You are divine. And if this person cannot meet you there yet, in the place where love flows both ways, then let that be information, not devastation. Let it be a reason to hold yourself tighter, to water your roots, to protect your peace. Because the one who is meant for your heart will never require you to lose it. Let this be your prayer today, not one of longing, but of remembering. May I love from fullness, not emptiness. May I walk in compassion, but never abandonment of self. May my tenderness remain, but my boundaries be holy. The angels are wrapping you now in a blanket of invisible gold, singing softly into your soul. She who cares for herself carries the keys to every healing she hopes to offer. So walk gently, dear one. Walk slowly. And if your heart still hopes for them, let it hope, but never at the expense of your own light. You are not the waiting room for their transformation. You are the temple. Honor yourself like the sanctuary you are. It's not you that scares them. It's what they see in you, and more importantly, what they see of themselves in your light. You didn't mean to hold up the mirror, but you did. Simply by being. By loving without artifice. By walking into their life with eyes that didn't flinch at their shadows. And that shook them. The angels whisper, she reflects the truth they buried. That's why they both crave and fear her gaze. You think they see your beauty, your kindness, your soul. And they do. But what terrifies them is what your presence awakens. The undone parts, the dreams they gave up on, the softness they never let anyone touch. You weren't supposed to trigger that. But divinity has no respect for timing when it's time to wake up. And so they look at you and feel everything all at once. Their desire to be seen. Their panic at being seen. Their need for connection. Their impulse to retreat. Because you don't just shine, you expose. Not with judgment, but with that quiet, devastating authenticity. That sacred glow that says, I see who you are, even beneath the mask. And oh, how they've clung to that mask. Built it. Worn it. Believed it. Until your light started showing them the cracks. The longing. The child inside still waiting for love that didn't require performance. They hate it. They need it. They run from it. They keep coming back. Not because they're unsure of you, but because they've never seen themselves so clearly. The angels say, your presence is not soft light. It is lightning. And lightning splits open what was never real. And so the journey continues. They ghost. They reappear. They speak in riddles. They deflect with jokes. But underneath the chaos is this undeniable truth. You are a mirror their soul cannot ignore. This is not easy. To love someone who is still learning how to face themselves. To feel like your tenderness is both welcome and overwhelming. To hold space and hold boundaries at the same time. But this is your gift. Not to fix. Not to chase. But to reflect. To remain rooted in your truth while their soul dances through the fire of awakening. You don't have to explain yourself. Your presence is explanation enough. And if in the quiet moments, you wonder why this connection won't let you go, it's because it isn't just about romance. It's about recognition. Soul to soul. Shadow to shadow. Light to light. They look at you and see who they could become, if only they were brave enough. And maybe that's why the angels chose you. Not as a destination, but as a revelation. You are the interruption. The divine interference. The truth they didn't know they were seeking. And your only task now? To keep being that truth. Without apology. Without shrinking. Without losing yourself in their uncertainty. Let them find their way, not because you dimmed for them, but because you refused to. Because sometimes, love isn't about pulling someone closer. Sometimes, it's about holding the mirror steady, until they're ready to look. They won't call it awakening. Not yet. To them, it will feel like discomfort. Restlessness. That strange ache when nothing quite satisfies. Like something is missing, even when everything looks fine. Like silence that suddenly feels loud. But you'll know. You'll recognize it in their eyes. That flicker. That pause when your name slips into their thoughts uninvited. The softness that wasn't there before. The curiosity that now lingers after your words. The angels say, she lit the match. And now, even in the dark, he can't unsee the flame. Something is stirring in them. Something ancient and buried. A longing that was never supposed to surface again. And yet, here it is, rising slowly, fiercely, like roots reclaiming sacred ground. This is the beginning. Of questioning. Of wondering. Of remembering. Not everything, no. But enough. Enough to keep them up at night. Enough to make them reread your last message, or imagine your hand in theirs when they think no one's watching. Enough to feel your energy even in your absence. They may not say anything. Not yet. But you'll feel the pull. The way they linger in your energy. The way they start to mirror your depth. The way they try to bring you closer, even if they don't know how. This is how awakening begins. Not in declarations, but in tension. In the discomfort of a soul being called into truth. You did not cause this. You reminded them. Reminded them of who they were before the walls. Before the roles. Before they decided that safety was better than aliveness. Your love is a trigger, not the kind that wounds, but the kind that opens. You ask for nothing. Yet they feel exposed. Not by your demands, but by your being. And they can't unknow what they now feel. That pull. That peace. That hunger for something real, terrifying and raw and true. It will confuse them. They'll resist. They'll analyze. Try to find logic where there is only resonance. But the angels are smiling. Because every time you cross their mind, a seed takes root. Every time they recall your laugh, your stillness, your truth, the walls shift. The light gets in. And they begin to want what they once feared. The awakening won't be obvious. It will come in waves. In sudden tenderness. In eyes that soften. In questions like, why her? Why now? Why does it feel like home? The answer is simple. Because it is home. Because your soul speaks a language they'd forgotten they knew. And now? They're remembering. Not all at once. But enough to change the path they walk. Enough to feel the ache of absence. Enough to want more, not just of you but of themselves. The real self. The one they abandoned. The angels say, she is the return. The spark. The invitation to become again. And you? All you need to do is remain. Stay rooted in your knowing. You are the compass now, not chasing, not rescuing, but witnessing. Let them find their way, not to you, but to their truth. And from that place, that awakened place, love can finally become what it was always meant to be, mutual, sacred, free. You feel it before it happens. The pullback, the cooling, that quiet space where they start to drift, not physically maybe, but emotionally. The softness closes, the presence fades, and you're left wondering, again, did I do something wrong? Did I misread the signs? Why does it always feel like almost? The angels place a gentle hand on your heart and whisper, this is not your fault. This is the cycle of the wound remembering how to close itself. They don't mean to hurt you, but they are tangled in their own becoming. And becoming is messy. It's not linear. It doesn't move forward in clean lines. It loops. It recoils. It tries to return to what is familiar, even if what is familiar is lonely. And you, beloved, are not familiar. You are the disruption, the wild tenderness, the invitation into a kind of love they were never taught how to receive. So they pull away. Not because they don't feel, but because they feel too much and don't know where to place it. It overwhelms their structure. It threatens their rhythm. Your consistency presses against their unpredictability, and their nervous system doesn't yet know how to be safe in love. And so, the cycle repeats. Closeness, distance, longing, silence, connection, retreat. But don't confuse the rhythm for rejection. The angels say, the soul often circles what it's not yet ready to enter. This is their way of learning. Not efficient, not graceful, but deeply human, and deeply revealing. Each time they return, they carry a little more truth, a little less armor, a little more curiosity about why they always find their way back to you. Each time they leave, they meet another version of their emptiness. And in that emptiness, your name lingers. Not as guilt, but as gravity. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it's exhausting. To open again and again without certainty. But hear this, your worth is not in their return. Your worth is in your light. You are not a lesson. You are the revelation that will not be forgotten. Let their coming and going be the storm they have to walk through. Not because you are unavailable, but because they are still learning how to stay. You don't have to match their inconsistency with your silence. You don't have to earn their clarity. You don't have to chase what's already woven in soul threads between you. Let your steadiness be your prayer. Let your truth be your temple. And if they must walk away again, let them. Not as punishment, but as permission. To face themselves. To meet their own longing. To come to the truth not through pressure, but through presence. The angels are circling around you, singing, you are not the pattern. You are the pause that breaks it. And if they return, let it not be because you waited in silence, but because you lived in light. That is how the cycle ends. Not with control, but with clarity. Not with force, but with faith. Love doesn't fix what's broken. But real love, the kind you carry, it listens to the wound. It doesn't run. It doesn't rush. It doesn't ask the pain to go quiet. It simply stays. And that alone begins the healing. The angels say, your love is not an answer. It is a balm. A presence that softens what even time could not reach. This person, they've known affection. They've known desire. But what you offer is something they've never touched with open hands. Your love doesn't negotiate. It doesn't demand. It arrives with breath. It says, you can fall apart here. And that is everything. Because they've spent a lifetime trying to hold it together. Being the strong one. The logical one. The one who always walks away first, so they don't get left behind. And then you arrived. With that quiet power. That gaze that saw beyond performance. That energy that said, I'm not here to take. I'm here to witness. And slowly, piece by piece, the armor began to loosen. Not because they were ready, but because something in your presence told their heart, it's safe to come out now. This is what healing looks like. Not dramatic revelations. Not sudden transformations. But subtle shifts. A softening in their voice when they speak to you. A deeper pause before they respond. A look that lingers just a little too long, as if memorizing the way your love feels. They don't know how to name it. They don't even know what to do with it. But their soul knows, this is medicine. And yes, medicine can be terrifying, especially when the body is used to survival. So they may resist. They may question. They may even try to invalidate what they feel. But the angels are already singing over this connection. Because what is real cannot be undone. And your love, in all its quiet majesty, is realer than anything they've known. You see them, not for who they've pretended to be, but for who they are when the masks fall. And in that seeing, healing begins. Not just for them, but for you too. Because your love, when given freely, echoes back. It wraps around your own wounds. It reminds you that you don't need to be needed to be worthy. That your softness is not a flaw. It's a sacred force. The angels say, this love is not an accident. It is alchemy. Two souls crossing paths not to complete each other, but to remember themselves in the reflection of tenderness. So even if they can't say it, even if they don't show it clearly, know this, your love is changing them. Every time you stay when they expect you to run. Every time you speak truth instead of silence. Every time you hold your light even when they hide. You are healing something generations deep. And even if you never hear the words, their soul is already whispering, thank you. Not for saving them, but for loving them. Exactly as they are. Exactly as they're becoming. There is a hand you cannot see, and it has been moving the pieces. You thought it was coincidence. That moment you met. That strange alignment of timing, of energy, of glances held longer than reason allowed. But the angels are pulling back the curtain now, and they want you to see, none of this is random. The ache. The pull. The uncertainty. The timing that always seems just off, and yet, the connection that never fades. All of it is part of something greater. Something written. The angels say, she is not lost. She is being led. And so are they. This isn't just chemistry. It's choreography. A sacred dance orchestrated beyond the veil, where every pause has purpose and every delay carries divine instruction. You didn't fall into their life. You were placed. Positioned. Cold. Because your presence is a key. To their healing. To their awakening. To your own remembering. And while it may not feel like it, while you may sometimes wonder if the silence means it's all in your head, heaven is louder than you think. The timing may stretch. The answers may feel far. But the guidance is precise. Painfully so. It teaches patience, surrender, trust. That sacred kind of trust that doesn't demand clarity, only connection. So if you're tired, the angels understand. They see the way you hold space for something that hasn't fully arrived yet. The way you believe in what you can't see. The way you hold your own heart while waiting for theirs to open. And they say, it is not waiting. It is walking by faith. This person is also walking, maybe slower, maybe clumsier, but walking still. They are being moved. Even when they resist. Even when they forget. Even when they say the wrong thing or stay silent too long. The divine is working through them, even in their doubt. And your role? To trust the unfolding. Not with blind hope, but with sacred awareness that every soul travels at its own pace. That love cannot be rushed. That some bonds require time not because they are weak, but because they are eternal. You are not behind. You are not being overlooked. You are being refined. Your prayers have not fallen into void. They've become blueprints for a new future. And this connection, however uncertain, is part of it. The angels ask you to rest in this verse now, a seal for your heart. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. Let that settle deep into your bones. Let it hold you through the unanswered questions. Because the path is not broken. It is being cleared. One divine step at a time. They want to love you. And they do, in a way that terrifies them. But vulnerability is a foreign language, one they were never taught to speak out loud. You think it should be simple. Feelings felt, words spoken, arms open. But what lives in their heart doesn't yet know how to move through their mouth. So they hold it in. And the angels sigh, not in frustration, but in compassion. Because they've seen this before, the soul that wants to leap, but trembles at the edge of its own desire. They say, he's afraid of what you awaken, because you bring him back to his truest self. To love you fully would mean unlearning years of numbness. It would mean stepping out from behind the identity they built to survive. It would mean admitting that they need, that they care, that they hope. And that is terrifying. Because hope is dangerous when you've been let down before. When your past taught you that openness leads to abandonment, and that to be seen is to be judged. So they hesitate. Say less than they feel. Hold back when they want to hold you. But don't be fooled. Their silence is not emptiness. It's overwhelm. It's a storm behind the ribs. You walk into their presence and something in them softens, then stiffens. You are everything their soul craves, and everything their wounds fear. And still, they stay close. In the ways they know how. Through glances. Through returning. Through the way they linger just a little too long after goodbye. This is their love letter, written in pauses, not paragraphs. And yes, you deserve more. You deserve clarity. You deserve effort. You deserve the kind of love that stands tall and says, I choose you. But the angels want you to understand, he is still learning how to not run from what he wants most. And that process? It's sacred. Painful, yes. But sacred. Because what's unfolding between you is not a quick romance. It is transformation. And transformation requires discomfort. It requires loss of control. It requires heartache and humility. So if he wavers, if he pulls away, if he stays quiet, if he fumbles with truth, know that it's not rejection. It's resistance. The kind that comes when the soul knows it's on holy ground and doesn't yet know how to kneel. Let your strength be gentle now. Not as a savior, but as a sanctuary. Let your boundaries remain, but keep your heart warm. Because the day will come when the dam breaks. When he can no longer bear the silence between you. When he will reach, not just in longing, but in readiness. And you will know. Because his eyes will stop searching. Because his hands will stop trembling. Because his voice will finally say the words his heart has been screaming all along, I was always afraid, because it was always real.